Good evening, my friends. We are live. I'm getting nothing in my headphones. This is Live Free or Die. I'm hooked up to the bottom one. All right, we are live, people. Oh yeah, sounds beautiful now. Thank you, sir. All right, now that we got the sound issues fixed up here, like I said, we are live, and today's topic is going to be the government shutdown, of course. That's what everybody seems to be talking about. I am your host, Eli King. This is Live Free or Die. Today is October 5th, 2013. Give me a call, 212-245-7273. Like I said, everybody's talking about this government shutdown, and I think it's a bunch of crap. And we're going to bring you 36 facts which prove that almost everything is still running. And this is from Michael Schneider, and he says, all of this whining and crying about government shutdown is a total joke. Because basically you got 63% of all federal workers that are still working, and 85% of all government activities are still being funded during this shutdown. But all President Barack Hussein Obama, aka Barry Soetoro, seems to be shutting down is the monuments, the Lincoln Monument, the George Washington Monument, the Mount Vernon Monument, which is actually not even government funded. It's privately owned for the past 150 years, and Mr. Obama decides he wants to throw barricades in front of this Mount Vernon George Washington place, this memorial here. That it's all a big show, you see. He wants to get his Obamacare passed, and the Republicans aren't going for it, and we're going to be going over these points a little down the line here. But yeah, you know, nobody wants to go for this damn Obamacare that you actually got to pay for. It's not free. Nothing is free in this world. And you know, if Obama really wanted to stop this shutdown and move forward, he can actually stop it with an executive order, just like he signed an executive order to have the NSA spy on you. Just like he signed an executive order to have the National Defense Authorization Act passed and to have Americans executed without a trial. And just like he signed executive orders to do all sorts of tyranny, he could sign an executive order and end this so-called government shutdown. But basically, here are some of the facts that I'm going to read it to you. Number one, according to U.S. Senator Rand Paul, 85% of all government activities are actually funded during this government shutdown. Number two, approximately 1,350,000 essential federal employees will continue to work during this government shutdown. Number three, overall 63% of the federal workforce will continue to work during this government shutdown. The U.S. Postal Service, the U.S. military personnel, the Social Security recipients, Medicare recipients, Medicaid recipients, food stamp recipients will all continue to get their benefits and, you know, continue. So there is no government shutdown, essentially. Number 10, those on unemployment will also continue to get their benefits. Number 11, federal retirees will continue to get their pensions. Public schools all over the country will continue to stay open. The Federal Reserve, of course, will remain open, even though it is a private bank and it's not essentially government. They basically tax us to print our own money. So people, you know, wonder why we got such a high deficit. Because we're getting taxed to print our own money. We're never going to get out of this deficit. So we should write it off like Iceland did and tell the banksters to go you know where and shove it. All right, number 17, TSA employees will continue to molest travelers at our airports. Yes, that won't be shut down. Of course, you cannot have the TSA not grab your genitals at the airport. Then it wouldn't be the new America, the post 9/11 America, I call it. Number 24, the government shutdown has prevented the new $2 billion NSA spy center from opening up. Actually, it has not prevented, yes. So they're going to open up this new spy center. and that you can't film on, even though the Supreme Court stated that you can film federal buildings. But, you know, if you go down there and try to film their spy center, they will confiscate your cameras and sick their attack dogs on you. This happened to Anthony Gucciardi of StoryLeak.com. All right, number 34. The IRS will continue to collect taxes, but it will be suspending punitive audits of conservative organizations. Number 35. Barack Obama will continue to get paid for the duration of this shutdown. Number 36. The U.S. Congress will continue to get paid as well. Also, on Twitter, Michelle Obama announced that she is unable to tweet on her own without the aid of her 16 assistants, many of whom take home six-figure salaries that are more directors, associate directors, and deputy associate directors on Michelle Obama's staff than there were in George Washington's entire administration. Oh, the humanity. Will Michelle Obama ever tweet again? Oh, man. I sure hope so. I sure hope they end this government shutdown so I can read Michelle Obama's tweets. I mean, no wonder why Barack Obama is so upset about the shutdown. I mean, you know, Michelle can't tweet. He's probably got her bothering him all day. You know, I mean, what are you going to do without Twitter, Michelle? Oh boy, and your 16 assistants who help you actually tweet the stuff out. I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but all right. Next article by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. The real crisis is not the government shutdown. Yes, the inability of the media and politicians to focus on the real issues never ceases to amaze me. He states, the real crisis is that jobs offshoring by U.S. corporations has permanently lowered U.S. tax revenues by shifting what we would have been consumer income, U.S. GDP, and tax base to China, India, and other countries where wages and the cost of living are relatively low. Yes, you see, the real crisis is in the absence of an intelligence among economists and policymakers. Those who told us for 20 years not to worry about offshoring jobs because they were going to have a new economy with better jobs. Yes, because of the serious decline in the U.S. economy, we're going purple on and off here. What the hell? Anyway, because of the serious decline of the U.S. economy caused by jobs offshoring and the financial deregulation, Social Security no longer adds to its surplus. Social Security payments need to supplement to the annual payroll revenues. Basically, damn it, we keep offshoring these damn jobs to India, China, and everywhere else, but they don't pay into the Medicaid and the Social Security and the Medicare. So this is why the Social Security is going down. Also, the government decided to borrow from the Social Security fund to pay off the whatever $1 trillion deficit that we're facing. If they had not borrowed from the Social Security fund, we would still have enough money for that Social Security to run for years and decades. But, you know, we got to borrow from our retired citizens. Anyway. Let's move on to this next article by Paul Joseph Watson. Infowars.com, of course. Obamacare fines to be seized from bank accounts. Yes, a man who attempted to sign up for Obamacare online was told that a fine of over $4,000 a year for refusing to take out mandatory health insurance could be taken directly from his bank account. Oh yes, and that his driver's license would be suspended and a federal tax lien placed against his home. Yes, this is according to an entry on a healthcare.gov /Facebook page. Yes, all sorts of complaints have been going on with the Obamacare. One guy says Obamacare Day 4 users still cannot log in. Yes, you have all sorts of people trying to actually follow the Obama law of Obamacare and sign up and get this tyrannical healthcare insurance that you actually have to pay for because it's not free, like I said, and they're unable to log in. They're receiving threats. It's just, it's a shame. It's a travesty, and this country is going to go down if this moves forward, in my opinion. We already have the greatest healthcare system in the world. This is why people like Michael J. Fox, who has Parkinson's, comes to America to get his treatment. If the healthcare in Canada, which is free, a socialist so-called free healthcare system, was so great, why wouldn't he get his treatment in Canada? Why does he fly down to America and get his Parkinson's treatment here? Who knows? All right. Anyway, this next article by Karen McVeigh from the London Guardian states that U.S. employers slashing worker hours to avoid Obamacare insurance mandate. Yes, Avita Samuels, a 24-year-old, has been the top sales associate for the last 3 years and has worked between 29 and 35 hours a week. But she said that she has watched as friends working in stores around her have their hours and benefits slashed, and she is worried that she will be next. Also in the Mall of America, Forever 21, the clothing store, told staff last month in a memo leaked to the press that it planned to cut hours and reclassify some of its full-time as part-time workers. Other retailers such as Trader Joe's, Home Depot have said they will no longer provide medical coverage for part-time employees. Do you see, my friends, how well this Obamacare is working out? Yeah, not so well apparently. Yeah, there were all sorts of flaws going on with Obamacare. The questions, the mandatory HIV test, like I said, the questions about your personal sex life. Who do you have sex with? What gender do you have sex with? These are all questions they're going to be knocking on your door and asking you, basically. All right. Next article, Steve Watson, Ventura, if you don't work, we shouldn't have to pay taxes. Yes, former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura smacked down members of Congress in a CNN appearance on Tuesday, saying that the two parties are nothing more than political gangs feeding off of the American people. Ventura said that should mean we shouldn't have to pay taxes, right? We shouldn't have to pay any taxes. I mean, if there's a government shutdown, why are they taxing us? Well, you know, why are we? Actually, we don't even pay taxes. They take taxes right out of our check. It's a rape. Anyway, basically, I think this is what Jesse Ventura says. I think it's time for a revolt in this country. I've been advocating a revolution for years now, Ventura said, adding revolutions don't have to be violent, but we need one. And I would tell everyone, vote them all out of office and don't vote in a new Democrat or Republican, but vote for anyone that is not Republican or Democrat. That seems to be the answer here. Yes. And speaking of voting for anyone that's not Democrat or Republican, you have Jesse Ventura and Howard Stern state that they may go for a 2016 presidential run. And they will be associated with no party, just as George Washington, the greatest president that ever lived, was associated with no party. The Ventura and Stern also want to be associated with no party, because all these political parties are gangs. I mean, like he said, they're like the Bloods and the Crips. And all they do is benefit themselves. It's like a big WWF match. These guys putting on a great show for us. Then they go behind stage and get sauced, get boozed up on our tax dollars, and talk about how they entertain the people and applaud, you know, the Capitol Police for killing an emotionally disturbed black woman, like if she was Al Qaeda. I wanted to get her picture up there too, but I think I have it here somewhere. Anyway, before we get to that, let's get on to this next article by Michael Schneider. 30 facts about Americans under the age of 30 that will blow your mind. Yes. Number one, the labor force participation rate for men in the 18 to 24-year-old age bracket is at an all-time low. Back in the year 2000, 80% of men in their late 20s had a full-time job. Today, only 65% do. Number 10, at this point, about half of all recent college graduates are working jobs that do not even require a college degree. Number 16, incredibly, approximately 2/3 of all college students graduate with student loans. Number 17, according to the Federal Reserve, the total amount of student loan debt has risen by 275% since 2003. And overall, approximately 25 million American adults are still living with their parents, according to Time magazine. Yeah, but you got over, 317,000 waitresses and waiters who have college degrees. I mean, there's a great documentary out there called College Conspiracy, and it basically points out, how they get you to take on this student loan, and they promise you all these great jobs at the end of the college road. You take out all these loans and you'll be paying off for the rest of your life, and it's so great because you're not going to get a job that's going to require a college degree, most likely, and you're going to be paying off that student loan, like I said, for the rest of your life. This is why, if you do go to college, I advise you to take something that's going to have a return on investment. Basically, go to college to be a doctor, go to college to be a lawyer, an engineer. These are fields that you will get a return on investment for. All sorts of things. But anyway, let's move on to this next article. Jesus, I'm all over the place. Back to this lovely African American woman from Connecticut. Her name was Miriam Carey. She was executed by the Capitol Police, and also after they executed her, the next day, the FBI cordoned off her whole neighborhood in Connecticut to search her condo for anti-government material as well. Yes, the FBI employed a bomb squad, a hazardous material team, and helicopters when they searched Miriam Carey's condominium in Stamford, Connecticut on Thursday. Yes, Carey was executed by police after briefly eluding them following an encounter at a police state checkpoint outside the White House. Yeah, and now you got the senator and the whole of all of Congress standing up and applauding and passing out buttons like this lady right here. I don't know if you can see her. This lady right here, they say is Al-Qaeda, apparently. Does she look like Al-Qaeda to you? Does she look like she deserves to be gunned down? I mean, come on. I mean, this is what they're applauding about and passing buttons, because this lady right here, was off her meds and ran into probably bumped into a barricade, because the video I watched actually showed the police running into all sorts of barricades and stuff like that. But you know how the New York City police get down. They'll claim a mass shooting just went down by the Empire State Building, and meanwhile they shot all 9 or 10 people. Yeah, obviously if you have a firearm, you need more training. You need active training, live training, all sorts of training. More training needs to be required for the NYPD, because you got a lot of shaky guys from Long Island who come down to the city, and they run into these hardcore criminals in the Heights and the Bronx, and they're quick to pull the trigger. And it makes it look bad for all the good guys who are on the job, who have never probably pulled out their gun once or have never shot anybody, and those guys are probably from the city. I mean, born and raised. it should be required that you live in New York City for at least a year before you get hired as an NYPD officer. That's my opinion. All right. Anyway, let's go on to this next article. It's by Aiden Salazar from Infowars.com. And basically, a cop was told not to wear his gun and his uniform when dropping off daughter at school. Yes, this is somewhere down in Arizona, an elementary school, and the teachers and the principals or whoever called them up and basically said, sir, officer, I know you risk your life every day to protect our lives, but could you not bring your legally owned firearm and wear your police uniform when you drop off our daughter? Because all the other little children are scared of guns, and we don't allow guns in school. But there was a time when actually you had officers come into the schools and show children how to use guns and gun safety properly and all this other stuff. The wussification of our kids in America. Let's go to the other photo, not that one. We'll go to my son last. But let's go to this photo first to show the officer. This is how it used to be. The officer used to come into the class and show the little children how to use a gun properly. Let's go to the next photo. Here we go again. You got a nice little American boy there being shown how to use a gun. And let's go to the next one. And this is from Time Magazine, 1956, teaching firearm training, teaching firearm safety in the classroom. Yes, because, we do have a Second Amendment. And as our great first president, George Washington, stated, let's go to that one. The very atmosphere of firearms anywhere and everywhere restrains evil interference. Yes, and like I said, this is why we have a Second Amendment, and this is why I train my children about gun safety and how to use guns properly. Here's a photo of my son. I trained him very well. Yes, this is my little boy here, and he knows how to use his gun very well. All right, then. All right. Of course, that's not my son. I'm just having a little humor here. But, yes, you see, you cannot be afraid of guns. Guns are a part of the American culture. They are written in the Constitution, damn it. Oh, man. All right. Next story. Idaho police joined growing number of departments with military vehicles. Yes, several police departments across Idaho have joined the growing numbers of states receiving armored military vehicles. Yes, Preston, what's this guy's name? Police Chief Ken Geddes of Preston, Ohio, is basically thanks the local government for providing him with these Bearcat type Humvee, not even these are bigger than Humvee vehicles. These look like the vehicles they used in Iraq and Afghanistan. As a matter of fact, according to a military corporal, these are the vehicles they use in Afghanistan and Iraq, basically to stop from IEDs and landmines and stuff like that. Apparently, we have a call. Let's go to the caller really quick. Caller, you are on the air. You got about a minute, so speak your mind.
Oh, yeah, hello?
Go ahead, brother.
I'm pretty sure that everyone's talking about the shutdown. We're at day 5 now, day 4, day 5.
Yeah, what's your take on the shutdown, Steve?
Well, anyways, first of all, I think it's a sham and it's a fraud that, they could have made some type of compromise without paralyzing the government. And the bad thing about it is they're still getting paid.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's no real shutdown, Steve.
Yeah, and Obama, he be vexing our Congress. They can't get nothing passed. And you know why Congress is rejecting Obamacare? Because they don't want the fact that Obamacare will be more intrusive or some mess.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, that sounds hypocritical. They're the one. See, Obama had this thing planned it out.
No,
with him, he's trying to start the New World Order.
Absolutely. They want to bring a socialist, Marxist, I call it communist agenda here to our
You're making a
country.
communist country. It's socialism, you know.
Yeah, claiming
And
that,
another thing,
go ahead.
yeah, you heard about the debt ceiling?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the 17th, but if Congress don't raise the debt ceiling, you can expect chaos.
I mean, yeah, chaos. But like I said before, Steve, Obama can actually raise the debt ceiling with an executive order. Why doesn't he do so?
Exactly, because as you know, Obama has emergency powers that he can do it, but people don't trust him with it because you know what he's capable of doing.
Oh, yeah, executing Americans on American soil, all sorts of stuff.
Exactly. Remember, he's president of the United Nations.
Yeah, the president of the United Nations Security Council at one time. Yes, which is a
is the
violation of the
Logan
Logan Act. Yes. Really quick, Steve. We're almost out of time, so I'm going to go through these last articles with you here. Brain implants to reboot depressed people. This is by Paul Joseph Watson. Yes, Steve. Scientists are set to treat depression and headaches by implanting electrodes into people's brains, which after the function of brain tissue by using these convulsive therapy to reboot the mind. But hacker Jack Barnaby warned that medical implants like pacemakers could be remotely accessed by hackers and governments to commit mass murder. Jack was found dead just a week before he was set to present his research at a conference, Steve.
Oh my goodness. That means they can track you just like that, man. That's like the RFID chip being chipped into your brain.
Yeah,
That's all part of mind control right there.
Yeah,
you know?
this is all the mark of the beast. I advised everybody not to take these new chips. They're going to come out with the iPhone that comes actually in your eye. People are going to line up for
I
that.
heard about those, yeah.
It's going to be all sorts of chaos. All right, Steve, we're out of time. I appreciate the call. Let's hit the bumper music. Last article before we go. Berry intake helps overweight women have healthy hearts. Yes, a diet in rich berries can help mitigate the heart-damaging effects of being overweight, according to a study conducted by researchers from the University of Turku. Yes, people, all you overweight women out there, eat those berries, be healthy, be beautiful, stay strong, and join me next week and every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. God bless America. God save the Constitution. And if you have received this transmission, then you are the resistance. Or die. Today is October 5th, 2013. Give me a call, 212-245-7273. Like I said, everybody's talking about this government shutdown, and I think it's a bunch of crap. And we're going to bring you 36 facts which prove that almost everything is still running. And this is from Michael Schneider, and he says, all of this whining and crying about government shutdown is a total joke. Because basically you got 63% of all federal workers that are still working, and 85% of all government activities are still being funded during this shutdown. But all President Barack going over these points a little down the line here. But yeah, nobody wants to go for this damn Obamacare that you actually got to pay for. It's not free. Nothing is free in this world. And if Obama really wanted to stop this shutdown and move forward, he can actually stop it with an executive order, just like he signed an executive order to have the NSA spy on you. Just like he signed an executive order to have the National Defense Authorization Act passed and to have Americans executed without a trial, and just like he signed executive order. Good evening, my friends. We are live. I'm getting nothing in my headphones. This is Live Free or Die. I'm hooked up to the bottom one. All right, we are live, people. Oh, yeah, sounds beautiful now. Thank you, sir. All right, now that we got the sound issues fixed up here, like I said, we are live, and today's topic is going to be the government shutdown, of course. That's what everybody seems to be talking about. I am your host, Eli King. This is Live Free Hussein Obama, a.k.a. Barry Sortoro, seems to be shutting down is the monuments, the Lincoln Monument, the George Washington Monument, the Mount Vernon Monument, which is actually not even government funded. It's privately owned for the past 150 years, and Mr. Obama decides he wants to throw barricades in front of this Mount Vernon George Washington place, this memorial here. That it's all a big show. You see, he wants to get his Obamacare passed, and the Republicans aren't going for it, and we're going to be going orders to do all sorts of tyranny. He could sign an executive order and end this so-called government shutdown. But basically, here are some of the facts that I'm going to read it to you. Number one, according to U.S. Senator Rand Paul, 85% of all government activities are actually funded during this government shutdown. Number two, approximately 1,350,000 essential federal employees will continue to work during this government shutdown. Number three, overall 63% of the federal workforce will continue to work during this government shutdown. The U.S. Postal Service, the U.S. military,